Good afternoon, and welcome to our Fall Women and Public Policy Program, WAP, Research Seminar Series. I'm Hannah Riley Bowles. I'm on the faculty here at the Harvard Kennedy School. I wear multiple hats, but I'm here in my capacity as the co-director of WAP, hosting, organizing this seminar. At WAP, our mission is to equip leaders and change makers with rigorous evidence-based strategies to advance women and gender equity. And we are so grateful that to be co-hosting this seminar with the Program on Negotiation at Harvard Law School, which is an inter-university consortium in our neighborhood among Harvard, MIT, and Tufts, dedicated to connecting rigorous research and scholarship with deep understanding of practice. So this is another university-based community of scholars with a kindred mission. And for this seminar series on intersectional perspectives on gender and negotiation, we are particularly excited to be inviting in so many folks who study and care deeply about negotiation. So thank you to everyone from the WAP and PON communities who are joining us here today. I'd like to introduce Jared Curhan, my co-organizer from the Program on Negotiation. Jared is the Gordon Kaufman Professor and a Professor of Work and Organization Studies at MIT's Sloan School. And also not with us here, unfortunately, this afternoon due to a conflict that he was pulled into. Julian Zlatev is also another co-organizer with us. He's an assistant professor over at the Harvard Business School. Before we start, I would like to offer a virtual land acknowledgement to honor local indigenous communities on the land where Harvard University sits, which is the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary unceded homeland of the Massachusetts people, the surviving descendants of the first people of Massachusetts and of the Neponset Band of the Massachusetts. Now today, I am delighted to introduce Professor Vivian Shan, who is going to be talking about different games, same handicap, how culture shapes gender differences in negotiation. Dr. Shan is a lecturer in Human Resource Management program at the Singapore University of Social Sciences. She studies how culture shapes various patterns of inequalities in negotiation and organizations and the relevant solutions, as well as using big data and analytics and AI technologies in human resource management research. And I think we're going to hear a little bit also about some of the new work that Vivian is doing. May I call you Vivian?
Yes, sure.
Yes, thank you, Vivian, that Vivian is doing. So really excited to hear about that work as well. Vivian studies, her research suggests not only diagnosis, but also suggests potential solutions to gender inequality in negotiations. And so this is, again, very much in the spirit of both of the organizations hosting this. Vivian, Dr. Shan, has published 30 papers in prestigious journals, book chapters, and international conferences. She is a recipient of multiple international awards, including 2 scholar awards from the International Association of Conflict Management. Prior to academia, Dr. Shan worked as a senior management consultant for a technology startup, so she really knows what is relevant to practice. She is going to make her presentation. We're going to hold questions, other than potentially clarifying questions, until the end, and then we'll have an opportunity to engage in a back and forth discussion. So let me hand it over to you, Vivian. Thank you so much. We're so thrilled you're here.
All right, thank you so much. Let me share my screen first. Okay, can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes, that looks great.
Yeah, is it critical clear to you? Good, right? Okay, all right. Thank you, Hannah, for your warm opening and introduction. I am so honored and thrilled to be invited here. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vivian Shan. You can call me Vivian. And this is our 4 a.m. in Singapore. I should have been very sleepy, but I am very, very excited because this is a so exciting topic. And today it is my great pleasure to share a topic on how and why culture shapes gender differences in negotiation. Well, it's really different game, same handicap. Now, let me begin with a very popular joke in China. Yes, a couple went for shopping, and then the girlfriend asked, how much is it? 280, said the salesperson. While the girlfriend was thinking how much she would like to cut the price, by 120 or 100. The boyfriend offered 200 and closed the deal. And this is what the girlfriend looked like in the end. So, based on such reality in China, if you want a better deal in negotiations, here are top 2 tips in bargaining in China. Number 1, never bring your boyfriend or husband when bargaining. Number 2, never go to the female negotiator, but only go to the male ones. Then, however, when I look at the literature, it says men negotiate better than women because negotiation table is a stereotypically male arena. In both meta-analysis and review papers, it is always men outperform women. Then my face was like this. So what happened? So I keep digging and I found a big commonality among gender and negotiation literature. Most of them are from highly individualistic cultures, predominantly the United States. Then what about the gender difference in other cultures, like collectivistic cultures? Well, we had no idea. So here comes my first study. Are men better negotiators everywhere? A meta-analysis of how gender differences in negotiation performance vary across cultures. It is well known that gender and negotiation literature is mainly based on the theory of gender roles and gender stereotypes that women are supposed to be communal or cooperative, thus incongruent with the behaviors to succeed in negotiation, whereas men are stereotyped to be agentic or competitive, thus congruent with the requirement of successful negotiating. These gender stereotypes can create gender inequality in negotiation, which has downstream effect on other important outcomes like status and income. So to contribute to gender equality, scholars strive to know how to improve women's negotiation performance without incurring backlash. So in the literature based on individualistic samples, only female negotiators face a dilemma in which if they negotiate counter-stereotypically, they will get backlash, being disliked, derogated, or even penalized. On the other hand, if they behave in a stereotypic way, they will get disliked. And both of these 2 paths will lead to worse performance of female negotiators. However, research demonstrates that gender stereotypes vary across cultures in a pattern that male stereotypes are more closely aligned with the society's core cultural values than female stereotypes. Specifically, while people from highly individualistic cultures stereotype men as agentic and women as communal, people from collectivistic cultures like China and South Korea and Singapore stereotype men as communal and women as agentic. And subsequently, we found that this also applies to the negotiation context. For American negotiators, masculinity means agentic and femininity means communal or cooperative. On the other hand, for Chinese negotiators, it's the entirely opposite. Masculinity means relational or communal, while femininity means agentic. So the question is, are men better negotiators everywhere. To answer this question, we searched negotiation-related words and gender-related words in title, abstract, keywords, or full text in multiple languages, such as English, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Germany. We even searched full text because a lot of papers only treat gender as a control variable. Also, we went through the references list in relevant review and meta-analysis papers, and we even emailed the authors whose papers include gender but did not report any statistics. To be included in the meta-analysis, the papers must contain enough statistics to calculate effect size and report objective final negotiation performance by comparing between men and women who must be more than 16 years old. And to capture the most recent phenomena, the papers must be published within 30 years. Based on these criteria for inclusion, we reviewed thousands of papers, and then we finally got 112 articles, which yielded 185 effect size with 23,000 participants from 30 countries. And then we coded gender as X and negotiation performance as Y. And the positive effect size means to what extent men outperform women. In other words, the negative effect size means to what extent women perform men. And then the moderator was participants' country's cultural index from multiple cultural theories. And we controlled for other cultural index in the analysis. And this is what we've got. The meta-regression analysis indicates that the likelihood of men outperforming women is positively associated with the culture's individualism and assertive practice, but negatively associated with the in-group collectivism practice and harmony. In highly individualistic cultures or highly assertive cultures, men outperformed women, whereas in highly collectivistic culture or highly in-group collectivistic cultures or cultures that highly emphasize harmony, women outperformed men. And now here the bubble size is proportional to the weight given to each study. Now, here comes to our theoretical contributions. Previous research studied gender and negotiation together, or culture and negotiation together. And our research incorporates these three by providing a more nuanced view that culture can shape gender stereotypes, which in turn determine gender differences in negotiation. So with these theories of research, culture and gender should no longer be studied in isolation, because culture to some extent can reverse the gender effects in negotiation. So I contend that culture and negotiation research should go beyond the old question of, are there cultural differences? Or the recently asked question, how do cultural differences vary across different contexts? To a more nuanced perspective, which asks this question: how does culture influence role within specific situations that set negotiators' roles? This is so essential because an oversimplified view of gender stereotypes without considering culture may lead to not only inappropriate stereotyping, especially in intercultural negotiation, but also inappropriate policy making to realize gender equalities. If we think deeper on the practical implications for broader policies on gender inequality, we can reflect on the reality that in both individualistic cultures and collectivistic cultures, men, the dominant group, as compared to women, always gain the culturally valued performance. That is, economic outcome in the individualistic cultures, but relational outcome in collectivistic cultures. Then we can infer that culture can determine which outcome is more important, or we say like a capital that can transform into the ultimate gain for negotiators. So to contribute to macro level gender equality, we should pay more attention on how to create an environment in which women are okay to seek the culturally valued outcomes. Now, back to the ultimate goal of gender and negotiation research. We now realize that overgeneralizing gender stereotypes across cultures may lead to a wrong approach to realize gender equality. It's just like building a house on an unstable foundation and fragile pillars. This is highly critical because research and practical works have already shown that other cultures are borrowing the same inclusive strategies and policies based on the same pattern of gender difference from the United States. And these borrowed inclusive strategies and policies are negatively influencing the equality and inclusiveness in other societies. Of course, for individualistic cultures, or we say assertive cultures, we still remain the argument that gender equality can be realized by improving women's negotiation performance without incurring backlash. However, we must realize that improving short-term negotiation performance for women in other cultures, such as in collectivistic cultures or harmony cultures, is not the right solution to improve gender equality anymore. Instead, more attention should be made to either increasing women's relational outcome or decreasing the negative stereotypes of women who seek relational outcome. Or we say, to make the relational women among us look less bitchy. We all know that Sheryl Sandberg once said this in a Chinese top university's commencement. While cultures differ all over the globe, our stereotypes of men and women are remarkably similar. In the US, in China, and everywhere, men are expected to be assertive, succeed, and women are expected to share, be communal, acquiesce to others. Well, next time, if you have the chance to meet with Sheryl, please tell her what you have heard in this seminar, because gender differences in negotiation is actually shaped by culture. Although it is the same handicap, but it is a different game. Thank you all very much. If you need to ask further questions or establish collaborations, feel free to contact me via this email address. And many studies presented our ongoing research and still need further improvement. Any questions or comments would be more than welcome. Thank you again.